to this show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen. Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. I got a really, really big show lined up for you today. If you're in the chat, okay, thank you. I was just about to ask. I got to tell you, I got the best producer. I've always told everybody, like, if you're wanting to start something, you know, a lot of people are not afforded to have a producer. You know, I've been working in radio. I've never had a producer work for me, and he really doesn't. Vulture really doesn't work. I mean, we're partners on this whole thing. Matter of fact, the only reason I just did not do a bunch of cocaine, by the way, allergies are so bad. But if you're gonna get a producer, get a Marine, get a military guy, because I got to tell you, oh, thank you, Iggy T. I mean, Iggy T's in here. What up, Iggy? How far along are you on Peaky Blinders? You know, I was gonna wait for season 6 to come out on Netflix, and it's not even gonna be out until like June 10th. Thank you, Jake Hudson. I really appreciate that. What up, Willie Cogley? Sorry, I didn't mean to burp in the microphone there. But over in the United Kingdom, I don't know if you guys know this, but like, you know how we watch national TV stations, NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox. Over in the United Kingdom, for you to watch any of the over-the-air channels, oh, the audio is bad now. Jesus Christ almighty. Give me a second. I don't know what to do. I really, yesterday's show, I had absolutely no problems with the audio. And by the way, guys, I have not changed anything. I have not changed a damn thing. Thank you, Vulture. And you guys, it's not this equipment. I got to figure this out. Because I told you guys, go listen to the audio podcast. If you go listen to the audio podcast, the audio is just so crystal clear. Atomic Shaman's in early. What's up, buddy? How are you, Atomic Shaman? No guest yet. She's on the clock. Lisa David Olson is on the clock. This is a last minute interview that oh, here she is right here.
What the heck happened? Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Lisa? How are you?
Darn heck. How are you doing?
It's going wonderful. I got to tell you, I don't want this to be like a Me Too thing, but I mean, the gray hair, I mean, come on, man, you rock it. Like, I
earned it.
No, but I'm just saying though, like a lot of women, they dye their hair and stuff, but like, I got to tell you, it looks good on you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm
sorry.
That.
I've already now I seem like a creep as soon as I brought you on. I'm like,
no, this is one of the best openings I've ever had.
Lisa, how are you?
I am swell. It was a long day at work, but I came home and I've been painting and listening to crime shows to unwind. How about you?
What crime shows do you watch? Are you one of those Dateline people, have you ever heard that guy, that older gentleman that they have? He's got one of the smoothest. I mean, you know what? I'm
Keith
comfortable with
Richardson? Keith
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes. And I got to tell you, if I was oh man, like, is it important as a lady, like when you're like meeting a man or something, the voice is the voice, because I have a little bit of a higher pitched voice, and people say that it kind of wears on them and stuff, but to have that smooth.
But enough
of a
about
deep
your mother.
What I know, but to have that like deep of a voice and stuff, it's pretty cool.
It's very cool. My husband does an amazing Keith Morrison impression because he will turn to me and say, "Or did they?"
Hey, Lisa, before we get into the interview, and by the way, I'm glad to be speaking with you, but this was a last minute booking and stuff.
Fresh. I like to say fresh.
You know what though, Lisa, if I'm being honest, I do some show prep when it comes to the guests that I have on, but I like to know the bare minimum. I like my interviews to be like you just meeting somebody on the street and having a conversation with them. Before we get into the interview, Lisa, tell my audience, the supporters of my show, a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how they can check out your stuff.
Can do. I am Lisa David Olson. I'm an
Do you-
author.
why-
Go ahead.
Why do you go with the 3 names? Because usually most serial killers go with 3 names. Lisa David Olson, John.
And all radio people use their first name and their middle name as the name. But I stole my husband's middle name.
Tuddle is not. It's just stupid radio name that the first radio show I worked on. So like, it's not my first, middle, or last name.
Nice. No, I'm Lisa Olson, and if you live anywhere around where I do, which
go with Lisa David Olson. I didn't mean to like sway you from that. Like, I don't think
no. There is a cute little story. It's adorable. Right. Are you ready?
I'm interrupting you.
You also interrupt yourself, which
Yeah,
is really cute. My son does that. It's everybody has this common Olsen name where I live, and so I stole my husband's middle name. Yeah, the Olsen twins, and then there's Lisa and the Cult Jam. So I stole my husband's middle name to make it Lisa David Olson when my book came out, because if you Google Lisa Olson, you're not going to find my book. And if you look for my podcast, you're not going to find it. So I stole his middle name. It's my third and final husband, and that's the part that makes it cute.
Hey, are you okay? Like, if any questions come up in the chat room, to take them?
Totally. And there's nothing you can't ask me, because I probably already posted it or wrote about it or made it up. CNCC Chips writes, is she a wine mom? Like, are you one of those moms, like, after a long day picking up the... No, not a wine mom? Jameson.
That is hard. Oof.
Give me.
Whoa.
I can't do much, but
you Irish?
No. I just had taste.
No, I haven't drank anything since 2019.
You must be thirsty.
Yeah,
holy hydrate, dude.
No, I was a raging alcoholic, and I tried to harm myself and spent 11 days in a hospital and stuff, and I decided to. Don't, man. It was one of the best things that happened to me. It was a wake up call that made me turn things around. But like, even the smell of it now, I mean, I would be lying to you if I didn't say, like, there are some times where I'm like, oh man, I had a good time when I was drinking and stuff, but I just can't do it anymore. But Jameson, I used to drink a lot of that.
Yeah, Jameson Mules. That's very tasty and refreshing.
So
but no, wine gives me a headache. But what does Cece drink? I would like to know that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna ask questions, she's gonna ask questions as well too. Tell me a little bit about the book. I've always been fascinated with people that write. Did you write it yourself, or did you have a ghostwriter?
I wrote it myself. It's called Laughs on Rye, WRY, and it's about growing up in an alcoholic home and how humor saved my life. And that's what my first TEDx is on as well, that humor did save my life. And the book talks about what it was like, the ups and downs of getting along with my mother, and then being beaten by my mother, and then being dragged out of bed in the middle of the night, and how I still have night frights from that, and how I get through it.
So, one of my problems was, and I haven't been open about mine because, growing up in the South, you just don't, especially in a small town, And I talk about it a little bit, and maybe one day I will talk about my trauma growing up. But
Yeah.
you know, it's just like when you live in a small town, especially in the South. You know, I before my dad passed away, I told him about what had happened, and I told my mom. But the reason why I didn't tell them was because I was like, I didn't want my dad to spend the last years of his life in jail, because I know, like, he, like, would have killed somebody. Like, I mean, he's gone now, so it's not like they can get rid of him and throw him in jail for, like, thinking about doing something. But
Right.
no, it was a long time. Like, I had to deal with that stuff. And I think a lot of my addiction problems, and I'm not like making excuses and stuff, but a lot of people in the United States, they self-medicate because
Correct.
there's a stigma, because
Yep.
it's getting better over generations. We don't deal with mental health the way we should here in this country. And there is a stigma, because growing up, I mean, it wasn't that bad. I don't want people to think that my parents were like, they didn't care, but it was like, if you said you were depressed or you dealing with it, what do you got to be depressed about and stuff?
Go run on the track, boy.
Yeah, exactly. But when you said beat you and pull you out of bed and stuff, like,
Yeah.
was it because you were messing up and stuff? Or
No, it was my mother's alcoholism, and that was her rage. And then the next day we'd get McDonald's. So Happy Meal toys are a trigger. Not
Mm.
really. But it was the give and take of somebody self-medicating their mental issues, for sure. And there is nothing wrong with being on a med. And people now, especially with COVID, are more open to saying, I'm struggling in this thing. Reach out to your friends if you haven't heard from them. Do check on them. And we all need to let each other know we're there for each other. And I recommend you do write your book, because when mine came out, people approached me and stated that I was brave. And I was like, really? And it helped because we connected through story. And that is how we grow and help each other.
You know, I'm not against prescription drugs. You know, like the psychotropic meds, mood stabilizing, because I was on 3 of them before I went into the hospital.
Wow.
But when I went in, it was like a cattle call when you went in to, like, see the psychiatrist. Their only job was to make sure you didn't harm yourself. But they had me on 9 pills plus an injection.
Were you good at taking them, or you were on them
No,
steady?
well, yeah. I was taking my 3, but it killed the sex drive, Lisa. Like,
Oh,
I did not. I thought that I was just concentrating on work and stuff,
mm-hmm.
and I wasn't, because, like, I wasn't even masturbating and stuff. And I'm not trying to, like, it's like there was,
Normal things.
yeah.
That's a normal thing. And when you don't have that quality of life, you're just going to sink lower into the dark.
But when I got out of the hospital, because it was a wake up call, because instead of, like, talking and treating the problem, we just want to over prescribe medications.
Yes.
Because
Oh, that one didn't work. Let's try this one.
yeah,
Give it 2 weeks.
and it's all about the pharmaceutical companies pushing and giving bonuses to doctors and stuff,
Right. Yeah.
to write their meds and everything. And it was one of the hardest withdrawal. It was actually harder than alcohol to get off. I went cold turkey as soon
Oh,
as I got out of the
wow.
hospital, and I know it was a dumb thing to do, but I'm off all of the meds now. Like, I'll be honest, I smoke. Well, we have medical, but don't have medical marijuana card, but I do
There's
partake in
nothing
that.
wrong with that.
And
Nothing wrong with that. It's all going to be legal anyways.
now, have you read anything? I'm not trying to get. I'm going to get back to your book and stuff, but I
No
wanted to get
problem.
your opinion on stuff. Have you read anything about psychedelics, like mushrooms and stuff, for treating depression? Because out of all the stuff I've ever done, I've never done that, because I was afraid, like, I was going to have a bad trip or a bad thing going on. But I'm reading a lot of good stuff about it.
I didn't know a lot, but I just recorded, and I haven't produced it yet. One of my recent podcasts, I just recorded Corey Lane Hilton, and he is a former exotic dancer who, of course, I get people way off track off their bio, and that's a joy of mine in sharing stories. And he dabbled in psychedelics, and I think, is it him? Is another guest as well, and they talked about psychedelics.
Is he
Oh, it was
taking
this
acid or
other guy.
mushrooms? What?
It was mushrooms, and this other guest said, Yeah, you could walk down the street in Denver with a bag of these things and it's legal, but you try and sell them and then you can't. But this guest was, it was a different name. But anyway, he said that he did it 3 times and he considered himself cured from PTSD issues. And it's basically, he said, it has to be in this realm of in an office and guided. You can't just go off and do this.
Microdosing, that's what everybody's saying.
Well, and what was that show? 9 Perfect Strangers or something
Yeah.
like that, or it was like
somebody said if you we just started talking. We've only known each other for about 5-8 minutes now, but Neil, he said names for Tuddle's book. Like, I don't know. Like I've told you some of this stuff. Like, I don't know. Like,
I love that question.
We'll get to that. CNC Chips, he said, you asked him what he drank. He wrote, like to sip on tequila, maybe some rum or good gin.
So not a bad gin. He doesn't want the bad stuff.
Oh man, gin. Like I mean, don't they put that? They put that in martinis and stuff, right? So
yeah, gin and tonic.
But who drinks like straight gin though, man? I've been watching a lot of Peaky Blinders, and they were like,
it's nice and clear. So I don't know.
Oh, you can pass it off as water. CNC Chips also says she is lit. All right, so so I was also reading you do a lot of public speaking as well too, right? Do you do some of that?
Just did some today. I left the office and came home and did a presentation for an online summit, which was also on StreamYard, and then you went off to this other room where was your booth. And I was like, this was so fancy. You could meet people off to the side like you would after a talk. Yeah, I talk about improv for real life. I've been an improviser and prank enthusiast for 2 decades. And I ran, owned, and performed in a comedy troupe for 20 years in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So I love to write sketches.
Wisconsin,
Carol Burnett is my hero. Yeah, in Wisconsin there, you get the boat and you get out your boots and you get out there and get your snow shovel right by your rake. Don't you know? You never know if she's going to snow. Be ready.
Fish on J writes, Over the Waves, a Patrick Fowler story. I've lived in Florida all my life, so,
So that's your actual name is Patrick Fowler? I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm thinking Fowler play. I'm thinking a play on that.
Or Foul Ball, the life of, play on the foul, foul ball, striking out on a foul tip or something. So now I want to talk. So you were in a comedy troupe, okay? And, I've interviewed, by the way, did you hear Gilbert Gottfried died?
Shut up.
No, yeah, he passed away today. I just read that news before I came on.
Usually my husband sends me all the deaths right away.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, they all come in 3. They say, they seem to come in 3s and stuff. But, Gilbert Gottfried was one of those comedians that a lot of people are like, oh, he's trash or whatever. But, like all of his Howard Stern appearances and stuff. I mean, the guy was a pretty edgy comic,
Yes.
He actually got in trouble. He lost. Think about that. He was the Aflac Duck for the longest time. And he made a joke after the Boxing Day tsunamis that happened. And he ended up getting let go from that gig. And that's a sweet gig just to come in there and voice it. Because he did have a unique voice.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that was all persona, just like Sam Kinison had that kind of rawness about him and that, screech or definite voice that you knew it was them. Yeah, that's sad that he's gone.
Another one that gets a bad rap, and he's from the Orlando area and one of the nicest guys. And, they think he's like a hack comic. He's not edgy. Carrot Top, Carrot Top.
Yeah.
Is another one. Like, he is the nicest guy in the world. Have you ever seen his workout photos? Like, the guy's like nobody, most comedians are not like, well, Joe Rogan, like he does like martial arts and stuff. But I mean, Carrot Top, man, I think he was on the juice. I think he was doing around like he was ripped.
His eyebrows are pumped.
Oh, well, his eyebrows are actually tattooed on. You know that, right? Like,
no.
He has some of that. You know how people get the permanent makeup set? I think he has some of that stuff done. And I'm not talking trash. Carrot Top's one of the nicest guys in the world. Like, he would come in and he, when you talk to some of these people, you can tell when they're just going through the motions,
right? Or
they're actually just listening. But back to my original question, they make all the jokes about women not being able to be funny or they can't roll with the punches and stuff. Like being a female doing improv and comedy and stuff, like, have you like had to deal with any of that?
Well, yeah, the crowds definitely want to go dark. So you yell out to the audience, give me an occupation. And it would happen night after night. Proctologist. Well, you know what? Once we go up your butt, then where are we going? So I prefer corporate clean humor that goes to the edge.
Mhm. Well,
Just
that's
like
where
the
the
Shrek
money
movie went
that's
to the edge,
that's where the money is. That's where the money, I mean, come
I think
on.
so. There's another comedy troupe in my area that is really dark, and they'll call different people from the college system like that he's a pedophile or he's a rapist and whatever. It's like, that's not funny to me and it's not true. So that is not humor to me,
Mm,
to just name call and act like that's going to be your sketch, or that sex toys have to be in the breadbasket. You're better than that. I think you can do situational humor just like you do when you're sitting around with your buddies sipping your gin and tonics. I believe it was Cece's drink, whatever.
yeah.
But yeah.
Fish on Jay, I want to put this compliment. Fish on Jay says, I gotta say it, not lying, Pat. She's a nice looking crick. And
I'm a lit crick.
yeah, well, here in the South, the past radio show I was on, like if you one of the we would call the ladies crickets, like
I love it.
yeah. So
Well, that could be my next ex-husband. Thank you for that.
wait, 3 times? Now let me ask you. So
Ask anything.
did you like get any paydays on the previous 2? Like, I mean, did they like cheat on you, or like, I mean, was it amicable, or like what happened with those previous 2 marriages?
I am so easy to divorce. It's just ridiculous. So, no, the first one, we just grew apart after we had our 2 amazing sons, and we're still friends to this day. I just sent him a music video right before I got on. We are very close and
I still
very good
talk to
friends.
my ex-wife. People bust my balls about it.
Let them. People don't have to pick sides, and if you think you have to pick sides, then you're going to lose both people. So
I hated her guts right after the divorce,
of
but
course you
like,
do.
yeah, I mean, after that though.
Of course.
Neil says, love her attitude.
Thank you. How
Now,
nice.
second one. I mean, do you still talk? I mean, you said you talked to the first one. Second one, no.
Yes, second one, we didn't have any kids together. After 10 years with him, I just fell out of love. I found out he was really dabbling in porn, and it's just not my thing.
Wait. He was a performer, or like
No, just very much into it, and so to me, that takes away from our relationship if you have to seek it elsewhere. Yeah.
Wait, whoa. Okay.
Oh,
Now,
geez.
I do agree that pornography does give you like wrong expectations when it comes to love life and stuff, but I mean, come on. I mean, all right. So like, I'm not trying to shock jock or be like shocking.
Go there, man. Go there.
I mean, there are weekends when women are, dealing with certain things that women have to deal with every single month and stuff. So you would have a problem. Yeah.
Riding the cotton pony.
Yeah, exactly. So you would have a problem with him if he was, watching porn and stuff there.
Yes.
Like, really?
Yes, because there was more to it than that.
Like
And
what? Like, was he paying, like, was he spending money and stuff on it, or like?
he did have sites he was paying for, and I happened to find an email that bounced back. Yeah, that said, "Oh, I can't get into the site," and I made my payment. I was like, that felt like he was cheating on me. And some marriages are like, "Hey, go screw your friend. I don't care," or "You can watch whatever you want as long as you're with me." But you
Yeah.
know what? In the bed, he wasn't with me. And to know that he had all these fantasy posters that in his bachelor pad, and to know that he LARPs and he plays Dungeon and Dragon, I'm like, somewhere in real life is real life.
What's wrong with? I mean, well, I've never live action role played, but I mean,
When you put it all together,
okay.
you're in a fantasy world.
Did you get a chance of like what was some of the stuff that he was into, like, or did you like get into that deep? Like, was he into some like weird stuff? Like, would that, or was that the problem?
I didn't get into that because, again, I'm into real life, and I could make things fun at night, but if it wasn't good enough for you, then it just was a real turnoff for me, and I never felt like we were present together when we were alone. And now we've been divorced 11ish years, and I hang out with his almost ex-wife, And we go to the craft fairs, and she told me that he asked for a divorce, and now his best friend did the same, another male. So I'm thinking, aha, that's what it is. He's been hiding his bi-ness or whatever. And I'm like, how sad would that be?
Whoa. Let's back up here a little bit. Bi-ness? I mean, look, I mean, listen, I support LGBTQT, but I mean, we can't brush over that. Like, for
exactly.
real.
I got to answer Fish that, do I like younger guys?
Well,
if I need the yard mowed or something, sure. If I need a couch moved, the yacht. But no, I'm really liking this last and final husband. He's really good. But Fish, I'll keep you on the line. Oh,
now let me. Somebody
you wanted to talk about what were you saying?
Yeah. So the somebody says sound like a Bubba sidekick or somebody. That was the last radio show that I worked with.
Sounds like Bubba. A drink I'd get at the mall.
Yeah, I worked with Bubba the Love Sponge here.
Super. I heard you mention that.
Yeah, he are you into wrestling and all? Like, I mean, everybody heard about the Hulk Hogan sex tape thing. Like,
right?
That was Bubba.
Oh yeah,
that was Bubba's wife. That Hogan was, the guy that I worked for. He was, like his ex-wife, like he hooked up with.
Sweet.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was
but you know.
It costs a lot. So if he had to do that all over again, I think he would take it back.
Him and Tommy Lee.
Yeah. So bi-ness, like,
I think maybe he's into this guy, this bro that he's always been hanging with, and just if you talk about him, he would just get starry-eyed and want to do whatever theater project he was in, and so his almost ex and I are like, yeah, I bet you there's something there, which is fine. It'd be sad if he had to hide it.
But women like to, like, oh man, he's a dirty dog, and they always, oh, he must be gay or he must be bisexual.
Yeah, it's not that way. It just kind of makes sense the way it's lining up. So we're just staying tuned. But he and I are still friends, and I send business towards his company. We don't chitty chat. We don't have a reason to. We don't share kids or anything. But I send him business, and he sends me prank stuff. So we're still in touch that way.
So back to the book here. Where did you do an audio version of the book?
I did.
Did you read it yourself, or did you have somebody else do it?
I did. I read it myself because some of the sections are pretty tragic and talk about being beaten with a belt and things. And then all of a sudden,
is that the worst thing you were beaten with?
Pardon?
Was that the worst thing you were beaten with? Because I mean, a lot of people here in the South, they get electrical cords or
go pick out your switch.
Yeah. Oh, my dad. Yeah. If you don't pay,
I lived in Tennessee for a while. I do understand that side.
Where was the beating section? Because like mine was from the shoulders down to the back of the knee. So it was
didn't matter. I was pounded in the head with a regular wall phone and screamed so loud the police came.
Oh, those phones were well built back in the days too. So
I was trapped between her legs and she was pounding my head. So that was probably the worst one.
Did you do anything bad? Like, what was the worst thing you did? Or was it back to, you said your mom had substance abuse problems and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever do anything to like, oh yeah, I deserve that one?
No, she was just in a rage. No, I don't remember that I did. There's 3 siblings, so 4 total. And we would just take turns saying I did oldest? It. Number 3.
See, being the middle kid is kind of good. If you're the youngest, you kind of maybe not get away with everything.
He did get a pass, and the oldest one took the most of it. Yeah, she had a knife held to her and stuff. I definitely remember that night.
An actual knife?
Yep. Well, I remember that.
Wait, how does it lead to end with a knife and stuff?
Well, my mother held a knife up to her. My sister left home at 19, up by her chest and neck.
Mm.
I remember my sister left home at 19, got pregnant, and then married. And she was a stepmom of 3 kids by the age of like 22, had no washer or dryer. My second, my older brother, he moved away to California as soon as he could. I left home at 17, and then my younger bro just kind of held on and got everything he could.
Is your mom still alive or no?
She is not. She passed in 2014.
Did you, like be able to make up? I mean, or like, did you guys not talk leading up to her death?
It's a great question. The roller coaster ride was ebb and flow, and I was the only one taking care of her until I realized my younger brother was also getting money from her. So my money was going actually to him. And so that didn't work out. I was in touch as much as I could be, but I also learned a lot about boundaries. And I definitely have friends that come to me for that information, learning about boundaries to preserve their own lives. But up and down, and I helped with my brother. We planned her funeral, and we made nice for that day. But he's a scary guy, so I stay away from him.
What do you mean by scary guy? Like, I mean, was he like messed up? Like,
he's a guy that if you pissed him off, he would come and put fox urine in your air conditioner. He would send you all kinds of junk mail that have very derogatory words.
Deer piss is way worse than fox urine.
You give him a call. Yeah. Obviously, he needs some help. He would make videos of shooting things using the N-word, like shooting a tree and calling it the N-word. Scary. And when I had my book release, he was calling all the media in town and telling them that. Yeah. And then he apologized to the police.
What was he saying about you and stuff?
He thought my book was slamming Mother, but really I give my mom credit for getting me into performing and things. So I gave her a lot of credit. Hey, there's 2, 3, 4 sides to everything. And I gave all the sides. And I said, if my siblings have a version to write, I totally invite you to write your book and I will buy the first copy. Hasn't happened.
Eric Fitzpatrick writes, this lady has a Jamie Lee Curtis look to her.
Oh.
You have all your fingers, because Jamie Lee Curtis does have a missing finger. If you ever looked at her hand, she does have a missing finger.
How do you know I have all mine?
I don't know. I'm just.
How do you know that I don't have a stunt finger in here?
I mean, your fingernails actually match your outfit. Like, you do that on purpose.
No, I work with cops. They don't notice a thing.
Wait, you work with cops?
I do. I'm an assistant in records and dispatch by day.
Oh man. Okay.
And I still prank even at work. My husband's like, what are you thinking pranking people who are packing?
My producer says that you got to go soon. So let me, let's get all the plugs. I hopefully I didn't do anything to offend you or anything.
Hell no, you didn't even get close. I'm disappointed.
Well, trust me. I just got monetized on some of these platforms, so I got to be careful.
I love it.
But I was reading you say that you like to take dares and stuff, and I would like to kind of, because you were doing improv and stuff, and I was thinking, what do you mean by that? Like, going out and filming something, or like, like, because I made my bread and butter in radio from doing the man on the street stuff, going out and just interviewing people. I've been assaulted so many times from going up and asking questions and stuff. I got, pissed off a lot of people going up and asking them questions. I covered the Casey Anthony trial. I got a lot of their lawyers to curse, like on live TV, Jane Velez Mitchell, all those. It was crazy. So I'm fearless. So like we need to keep in touch. So like maybe, you can come up with something that I can go out and do. And I don't know.
I think that'd be great. We can dare each other. I think that anything that makes your heart beat faster and raises your adrenaline, like laughing and doing dares and doing pranks.
I get turned on by it. Neil Laguerre says, awesome guest. Thank you, Tuddle.
Oh, sweet, Neil. Yeah, I'm just a lit cricket.
Lit cricket. CNC chips, put her in a box with crabs. That was one of the things. They put me in a coffin with 50 blue crabs, and they poured them over me. I was only wearing nothing but a jock strap and a helmet. That was pretty painful, by the way.
Oh my God.
I was also.
That's a sentence I didn't expect to see today.
That's not the worst stuff. I was actually in a circle jerk challenge when we were on. My ankles were handcuffed to 3 other guys, completely nude, and the first one that could, completion won like $800.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know that's when Bubba was on Howard Stern's network. I did get $100 bonus. I was not the winner, but because I got another guy's substance on my knee, by the way. But it was $100.
$100 is $100, baby.
Yeah, I mean that's a bad note to go out on. Before you go, tell my audience and my supporters how they can check you out online, find out any of the info, and check out any of the stuff that you got out there.
All right. My podcast is called Stranger Connections with Lisa David Olson. I am old, so I'm on Facebook, Lisa David Olson, Instagram. What else? I don't know.
You on
Oh,
TikTok?
LinkedIn, but who
Are you
cares
doing
about it?
dances? Are you doing dances on TikTok and stuff? Because I got to tell you, I think it would be through the roof if you did that.
I am on TikTok. I'll have to figure out that Jamie Lee Curtis dance and maybe do that one.
You know, my audience is going to Google pictures of you because they can only see you from like the chest up and stuff. We got to check her out and everything. Oh, okay. All right, there we go. All right. So CNC Chip says, great show. I got to tell you, you know, my audience, my supporters can be a little rough. Like they go into it like, all right, this guest has got to prove to me that, she can bring it. And you definitely did. So
awesome.
That was good. Your website, once again, so people can check it out. Is all the links? It's a website, the best thing to go to?
Sure, but I'll chat with you on Facebook. But yeah, lisadavidolson.com. And I have my own comedy page on Facebook. It is clean and it's counterclockwise. So more punchlines, less headlines.
All right, I'm going to let you go. I just got to read these comments. OMG, Neil writes. Eric Fitzpatrick, I think that's a typo, but I think he meant to say sexy.
Oh, wow.
Fish on J says, wish she was my teacher back in school. And Iggy T, she's my #1 supporter. Oh, what just fell down in the background?
My books. Too close. I got all worked up with the compliment.
And Iggy T, she's my biggest Canadian supporter. She says she's fabulous.
Oh, thanks, Iggy. Back at you. Canuck? All right, is that what you say?
Yeah. Wait, one more. I got to read this. Fish on J, old and smoking. Not that you smoke, but smoking hot.
Smoking. Nice. Well, thank you. I always do have a fake one with me.
Hold on. I just asked if she was on Twitch or Twitter. I don't know why it was deleted. Are you on Twitter or Twitch or anything like that?
Nope. But if I should ought message me and we'll figure that out.
Are you smoking a vape there? What
he said smoking. This is everybody should always have a fake cigarette by their computer.
I was about to say, I was like, oh
that
man.
And a harmonica.
Oh, good. Eric says smash. That means like that's a good thing with the younger generation.
I was gonna say, you know how old your guest is when you have to translate the words like
no,
that. And I did get lit.
I'm offensive. I'm just saying, like
I know.
They do smash or trash. I just wanted to clarify that.
I'm just feeling the love. We're just gonna have to have another play date.
Yeah, we got to do that. Lisa, hey, I hope you have a great night. Thank you so much. And let's keep in touch. I would definitely want to have you on again. Okay.
I would love it.
All right.
I'll
have
take
a great
you
night.
on my show too. Thank you.
Oh, dude, please. I will come on immediately.
I will be haunting you. Thank
you.
All
right. Have a great night, Lisa.
Good night.
All right. Bye. All right. Holy crap. I gotta tell you, I really see that's the thing about it. I've said this time in and time out. I would rather talk to a person like that than a celebrity. You want to know why? Because she was being real. Now, like, she wasn't like pushing the envelope and stuff. But I mean, she knew how to take a rib. I really think I don't think that there was anything you guys could have said in the chat room that would have thrown her off. And dude, I'm being honest. Fish on J brought up a great point. I mean, she's awesome and knows how to work. And I got to tell you, was it wrong for me to ask her to stand up? Well, I didn't actually ask her. But I was like, oh, I'm going to see the pictures and I got to check you out and stuff. And when she stood up, she's been married 3 times. David Rivera coming in. Fish on J, I'm going to find out for you because David Rivera came in with a super chat, coming in with $20. Thank you, David Rivera. Seriously, I want to hear from you. No, I mean, Eric, look. I wouldn't have minded. Yeah, I mean, Dave the Slave, I'm with you. Tuddle on the radio. Hey, buddy, glad to see some activity on here. It's Dave the Slave. Thank you, guys. And that's all that I ask. Sharing around to some friends. And CNC Chips is right. She was hot. Her attitude. She's been married 3 times. I didn't get the whole thing about the pornography. And let's be honest. If you're paying for porn, I mean, if I was a chick, that would be the thing that I would be pissed off the most about. Who pays for porn anymore? Seriously, really, who pays for porn? That was the thing. Thank you, Dave the Slave. That's the other thing. Dave the Slave said he's out there sharing it and stuff. And look, if you guys can't help me, yeah, I know, like paying for DuPont. I mean, she kind of put him on blast, said bisexual and stuff. I don't know what woman should admit that, because it's like, all right, maybe you're not kicking out wide enough, but god damn, she was great. I thought she was amazing. I got another interview. It was recorded earlier. Coming up here, because I do want to get into one news story before I get into that. Maybe a couple of news stories. I got my good friend, well, I wouldn't say good friend, a friend from the past, Genevieve. Fish on J, do you remember when they had the Monster Dance Squad, where
putting a 4-year-old boy in a dryer
that would show up at the big events for the monsters and stuff? Because my friend Genevieve, she is one of the coolest chicks that I know. And I've talked to other people that have just decided to go and travel the United States and live the van life. I had another guy on it. I can't remember his name, but he, started traveling the United States. He wanted to live the nomad lifestyle, travel around in a van. Now, it's one thing for a guy to do it. Now, Gabby Petito, when you think of a woman traveling around the United States in a van and stuff, well, see, that's a bad example, because she was out traveling around with her fiance or boyfriend, and that asshole killed her. But I talked to the guy doing the van lifestyle, but I always wanted to talk to a woman that does the van lifestyle stuff. And it was a great interview that I had with her. And god damn it, those video clips did not load. Anyways, Genevieve, she is a professionally trained dancer. She was a dancer for the Orlando Magic. She was, I don't know if she did stuff with the Predators. And she also was on the Monster Dance Squad, but I mean, I'm sure that wasn't like, I'm not like bad mouthing anybody, but she, her and the dancers used to come into my ex-wife's tanning salon that me and her owned, and they would all tan. Because, we were able to get mentions and stuff, so it wasn't pale la pluggle on my end. Isn't it funny? I ended up getting fired from Real Radio anyways over Paola Plugola. So I got that interview, and it was really, really interesting. And I got some other things because Genevieve is mostly out near the West Coast, Texas, and more west, that she runs into a lot of interesting people. She's going to start sending me some content and stuff. So I'm working on some of that stuff with them. But locally here, and I know that I should not like make jokes about this story. Did you hear about this Amber Chapman chick? She was babysitting somebody's kid. And I guess like the kid was like getting on her nerves and stuff. Because you put this kid that she was babysitting in the dryer.
A Lake County babysitter is accused of putting a 4-year-old boy in a...
All right. That's problem number one. Lake County. God, this is one of the most Florida woman stories that I've ever heard.
Dryer, then turning it on.
Tonight, Amber Chapman is charged with aggravated child abuse. Watch Tuesday night, Gabrigetis walks.
I need to know how old this kid was and what he was doing. Because my last guest talked about abuse and everything, but a dryer, kid had to be young to put it had to be a baby or a toddler to put a toddler in a dryer. But Lake County, it wasn't one of those high industrial ones. Even a fat baby, even a fat newborn baby, I think the dryer would have a hard time spinning a newborn, like 8-pound or 9-pound baby toddler. Yeah. Because have you ever like loaded too many clothes into a dryer when they're wet? And right when you first start the dryer, you can just hear those gears and that engine or motor just working extra hard.
Through this investigation and tells us just how badly this little boy was hurt.
A 4-year-old boy found with bumps and bruises.
All right, 4-year-old. Look, like I said, I know that I shouldn't be making jokes and stuff. But when you're like, I don't know, 7 and under, babies are pretty and young kids are pretty. I've never had kids, but I can just remember, like, they're pretty like pliable, right? Like they're flexible. Their bones haven't stiffened as much. So like they bounce back. Well, I mean, CNC chips, then I've had some pretty probably crappy dryers in my life. Most dryers can spin up to 40 pounds. Huh. Did not know that. I mean, we did get a lot of secondhand stuff, so maybe that's why our dryers never was able to do that.
Told doctors that he spun around after his babysitter put him in the dryer. 35-year-old Amber.
All right. Let's be honest. Now, if you don't live in Florida, Lake County is so 3 of the biggest counties that get a bad rap. You got Volusia County is one of them. Pasco County is another one, and Lake County is definitely one of those. There's a lot of white trash. Like I live in some white trash areas as well. But like, come on, smash or trash on this chick that put the baby in the dryer.
Christine Chat.
I mean, come on. Look, you wouldn't have to be that drunk, would you?
Chapman was arrested on a child abuse charge in Lake County over the weekend. Investigators say she frequently looked after the boy. But in February, the boy went to the emergency room because he was hurt. A report says the child had bruises all over his body, including his ears, his forehead, hip, and above his spine. The child told the medical staff, "Miss Amber put me in the dryer with towels." At
least she put some padding in there. Once again, I'm not like trying to make jokes. CNC. That's why I love the supporters of the show. I'd smash. Wasn't my kid. Iggy, and look, I know that I'm making jokes and stuff. It is so sad. It is. No, look, fish on Jay, seriousness aside, she would get her ass beat for this. I mean, look, I'm not saying like she doesn't deserve to get her ass beat. Or fall down some stairs when she's being walked in or getting the perp walk and stuff. Oh, no, Iggy T, you're right. Kid is scarred for life. I mean, at least she put towels in there.
Recorded interview, the boy told Lake County investigators that Chapman placed him in the dryer, closed the door, and said he spun around and around. The boy told detectives that Chapman then...
Oh, man, if she would have played the song, "You Spin Me Round, Right Round, Baby, Right Round," that would have been like an extra kick in the little baby balls.
Opened the door, closed it again, and said he went around and around. According to a second medical examination, the child protection team couldn't determine if being placed in a dryer is what caused...
Oh, okay, look. Now, look, all right, look, I know that I'm making a lot of jokes and stuff, but come on, look at this. All right, any lawyer, kids do like to lie a lot. Let's be honest. I'm sure that this woman did it, but any lawyer is going to use this. Medical report stated that the child protection team is unable to determine if being placed in a dryer caused these injuries, but the severity of the injuries and the locations of the injuries on the back, face, forehead, and ears are consistent with being inflicted by the same. So how did they test this out? Did they put a baby cadaver inside a dryer to prove that the injuries are consistent with a baby? Come on, you know that they do that. They have that forensic material or cadavers and stuff. Do parents donate baby cadavers for this reason? I'm kind of pushing the envelope here. But any lawyer is going to be able to try to fight this because they can't prove it. And the only way you can prove it is if you put a baby cadaver inside a dryer and you spun it.
Those are the boy's injuries. But the team said the severity of his injuries was consistent with what he told doctors and investigators. Reporting in Lake County, Senaiga Brigadagis, WESH 2 News.
Whoa, what the hell was this woman's last name?
Reporting in Lake County, Senaiga Brigadagis.
Oh, man, I can't. What the hell was her last name?
Reporting in Lake County, Senaiga Brigadagis.
It's like it's fast forwarded or rewound.
Reporting in Lake County, Senaiga Brigadagis, WESH 2 News.
She's no Claire Metz. And I want to get into another story before I get into my interview with my friend Genevieve to talk about life on the road. Have you guys ever heard of the gates of hell?
Names go.
You guys see this pit right here? They call it the gates of hell. It's in some country like near Russia. And people are like, oh, it's the gates of hell. No, it's not really the gates of hell. They had a collapse in the ground, like some European sinkhole that had methane gas or like natural gas under it. And they thought it would be a good idea to light it on fire because, that's the name. Turkmenistan. It is Turkmenistan because I put it in the description of the show. And they thought it would all burn off and stuff. Well, this stuff has been burning, I think, for the last 3 decades. And now I guess this new politician, you know how the politicians, they have a platform. They must not got a lot of stuff going on Turkmenistan. Because if I'm being honest, I mean, I've never even heard of the country if it wasn't for this gates of hell. They should open this up as a tourist attraction and let people just get paid to come see this thing. But now they're wanting to, this new politician that's running, I think, for the presidency, he's wanting to I'm going to be the candidate that's going to close gates hell. He even used it in his campaign video.
The Darvaza gas crater has one that...
Look at this thing. I mean, that is pretty badass and terrifying at the same time.
Feels like it fits. An open pit burning for years. Locals call it the gateway.
I mean, you guys remember The Simpsons? They had that big tire fire that just was burning all the time. I mean, come on, this is like a tourist attraction. If it's natural gas and it's burning and stuff, I don't see the problem.
To hell.
There's no other place like it on Earth.
Canadian George Karunas knows the crater well. An explorer and adventurer.
I mean, that is I know it's not a selfie, but that's a badass picture. Look at that. You're in some space-looking suit, and you're walking in the gates of hell. You're like, yeah, guess what? I mean, this picture alone is a panty dropper.
He's actually been inside.
You totally expect the devil himself to come jumping out.
The devil's not coming out because it doesn't exist.
Of this crater with horns and a pitchfork in the tail and the whole works. So I totally understand how it got the name Gateway to Hell.
Now, it looks a lot like a...
Why hasn't a death metal band performed live from the gates of hell? Maybe they have, because I'm telling you right now, that would be a badass concert. Come on. For real, you put the band where those cars are at right there and have the audience around the gates of hell. rocking out, like Pantera, or like any, like just think of any like death metal band just playing around the gates of hell. I think it would be great. That would be a great Mortal Kombat pit stage for a fatality. That's a good one, Fish on Jay. But I'm just telling you, why would you want to get rid of the gates of hell when this is a good thing? Because I've never even heard of this country if it wasn't for the gates of hell.
Volcano. It's not. Karunas describes it as part natural phenomenon and part industrial accident. There are conflicting timelines and conflicting histories. But somewhere around 1970, a sinkhole...
This thing is older than I am. And they thought this natural gas was going to burn off.
Collapsed.
Yeah, it still hasn't.
Either naturally or because a crew was drilling for oil and methane gas started spewing out. Soviet authorities...
So does this hole just smell like a big butthole? Is it just like, smells like a fart all the time? Because it's methane gas.
Authorities decided the best way to get rid of that gas...
Oh, man. You know, like that, people that have hemorrhoids and stuff. Remember that they paid for the Johnny Cash song, Burning Ring of Fire, I think for Preparation H? They need to film a commercial here. Burning Ring of Fire. Look at this. I mean, it looks really cool. Is the sand hot there too? Like, could you survive if you fell in the gates of hell? I just don't see how you could even crawl out of it. Why don't they just throw a bunch of garbage in it? Start burning that too.
Was to set the crater on fire and let the methane reservoir underground eventually burn itself out.
That was literally decades ago, and it's burning as brightly today as it was 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Well, the burning of the methane may be better for...
Nah, you're not surviving that. Plus, you're not even going to, like, climb out of it. Yeah, Fish on Jay. Cradle of Filth would be a great band to play in front of that. Never heard of them, but it sounds like a badass death metal band name. Why don't they throw, like, all their pedophiles and stuff, or rapists or murderers? You know, like in the Star Wars movies, they threw people in the Sarlacc pit to be slowly digested over, like, a century. Why don't they, like, make them walk the plank? I got to tell you, I don't think the death penalty deters people, but if people knew that they were going to be thrown in the gates of hell pit, I mean, it might kind of curb some of the major violence.
For the environment than just letting it escape, it's still bad. So the Turkmenistan government is hoping to seal it up. It's studying pitches from scientists on how to do that, and it has the financial backing of an international development bank. There is recognition that just hoping...
You know what? It does not look as impressive during the daytime. If you're going to visit the gates of hell, you definitely got to do it at night, because it does not look as impressive during the day.
It runs out isn't a great option.
Yeah, so the gates of hell.
There are those who might miss it, mostly adventurers looking to cross something off a bucket list.
I think it's ready.
Or in this guy's case, to cook...
He's roasting a marshmallow over gates of hell on, like, fart gas that's burning. By the way, coming up here, my conversation with my good friend Genevieve, talking about the nomad van lifestyle. That's coming up here right after this story.
A marshmallow over it.
I don't know if tell me. Oh, this guy's, because I pull these stories in and I kind of go through them pretty quickly. Is this guy going to jump it? Why? Look, why hasn't, like, who's the guy from the Nitro Circus? Travis Pastrana. Travis Pastrana needs to... Yeah, Jake Hudson, call in. 407-270-3044. Do it now, because I'm going to get into my interview, and that's going to end the show. But I'm telling you, Travis Pastrana needs to jump this.
Turkmenistan's former president actually used the crater as part of a campaign in 2019.
Oh, so It's not a new guy.
To demonstrate his vitality, doing donuts in the desert beside.
That's a pretty badass campaign video. I mean, oh man, that's pretty cool.
The gates.
It's like a rally truck too.
Of hell. Well, the country now hopes closing those gates, sealing it off, they can put it to a better use and capture the natural gas instead. Mike Armstrong, Global News.
All right, hold on. I got a phone call coming in. Let me see here. Hold on. Hello, Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hey, is this Jake?
Hey, what's up, Tuddle? It's Jake.
Hey, man. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. What's up, Tuddle? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I think people are enjoying the show tonight.
Yeah. Who is that person you had on the beginning?
Hold on. It was a last minute thing. My producer Vulture booked her. She was great. I loved her. Lisa David Olson.
Sorry if I'm confused. I was confused because I didn't recognize the person. Sorry.
No. See, the thing is like I'll talk to anybody. I'm being honest. I'm a little desperate, and I'm not saying that's not a thing towards her, but I would rather just talk to regular everyday people because, you know, if I had a celebrity on, celebrity ain't going to tell me the truth and stuff. They're not going to be honest with me. So I'd rather just talk to somebody interesting like Lisa David Olson.
Or me.
I mean, do you want here? You know what? Can you email me your contact stuff? I would love to have you on. I really would. I do have a guest coming on.
I think you have me on Facebook.
Yeah. I'll hit you up on Facebook. I would love to interview you because I'm fascinated with that region that you live in right there. You know.
Hey, by the way, when I called in, it says a run for your money.
Well, what is it? What do you mean? When you call in, it says a run for your money? Like,
right on the thing, the number shows up when I called BTLS, it shows BTLS Studio. It says a run for your money.
Oh, well,
is that your studio?
I don't know. I just know that that's the number that I use and stuff. I'll have to get into that. I don't know, but thanks for letting me know.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, man.
Book it.
I'll reach out to you after the show and stuff. Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, man.
Bye.
Hey, thank you, Jake. I really appreciate it. I hope you're well, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, man.
I am doing good. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, so I'm gonna get into the interview that I did with. See, now, I wanted to have Genevieve on because I'll just be honest. I'm not trying to sexualize Genevieve and stuff, but I tell you, she's pretty hot. And I got a male audience and stuff, but I did put a picture up there. I'm going to see if I can get those videos downloaded and stuff. But she's going to start doing some content and stuff. I'm going to have her on again when she gets some better connection and stuff and have her on because she's got some great ideas and stuff. And I think we could both help each other out. So let me get this interview going. It was kind of long. So hopefully StreamYard does not give back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Picture of her right there. Oh yeah, mention. Okay, got you. Tuddle Mark, cheers. 100 bits. Yeah. Oh, Kendall Hill. Kendall Hill brings up a great point. Kendall Hill it says Tuddle needs some emojis. Do people have to create those? Because if they do have to create those, can somebody please create me some emojis? Because I think it would be cool to have because you guys made some pretty funny ones when I was on the Bubble Love Sponge show. You know what? It's probably one of those cases I should be careful for what I wish for. All right, here's my interview with my good friend Genevieve. We're going to be doing some stuff coming up here in the near future. Hope you enjoy. This is an interview that I've wanted to do for quite some time because you guys have heard me do a lot of interviews with guys that are living the van lifestyle, the nomad lifestyle. I don't even know if that's a derogatory term, but I've known my next guest for quite some time. It's been a while since I've talked to her, but Genevieve, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Where are you right now? Like, where is your base camp at? Like, I mean, you don't have to give me the exact street address, but I mean, like, what area?
No worries. Yeah, I do move around, but I've also been on the road for about 7 years. So currently I'm kind of settled into a small town way out in West Texas in the Chihuahuan Desert.
Wow. All right. So like how long were you in Florida for? Like, did you grow up in Florida?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Florida, and I lived there for 35 years. So I hadn't been anywhere else. I mean, I'd been other places. I hadn't lived anywhere else prior to going on the road.
How is that going from one of the most humid places in the whole country, then going out there? Because I've seen a lot on your Instagram page. By the way, before we get into that, if people want to follow you on Instagram and check out some of the stuff that you're up to, because I mean, it's pretty amazing stuff. Some of the scenery, I mean, it's got to be pretty amazing, some of the places you've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really lucky. Like I said, I've been on the road for almost 7 years, and I went on the road initially with the hopes of going cross country, which I did in about 4 months. I took the long scenic route cross country, and stopped when I wanted to stop. So I've gone through like this whole cycle of living on the road, and I've seen some really great places, and those are the places that I tend to spend more time in, because when a place speaks to me, it feels like that's the place to stop. So I've been very lucky because I've found some really wonderful places in the American West.
If people want to follow your Instagram, how can they do that? Like, what is the username that they need to look up?
It's actually Joie de Vivre. It's a little bit of a French play on my name. So I can spell that, though. It's JOIE_DE_VIEVE. And I don't really do the social media ambassador influencer thing. I really just kind of write and share things when I feel like it's necessary. I do share mostly on my stories. Just I like giving a snippet of the day-to-day life of living tiny and living nomadic, and so I share a lot on my stories, but I try to keep the post more meaningful.
Yeah, no, I really do love the content. So let's back up here a little bit. The reason that I know you is because you did a lot of choreography and stuff. By the way, I saw one of your stories. You were getting down dancing with your cast iron skillet the other day in your kitchen and stuff. So like what was the one thing? Like what made you want to like pursue this type of lifestyle? Because like a lot of people, especially here in the United States, we've become comfortable with our everyday lives, and a lot of people don't make that leap like you did. What was it that made you want to live like the van life, the nomad life, traveling?
Well, I kind of see life, especially my life in general, but all human lives as like stories and chapters. And to touch upon about one of the biggest chapters of my life, which was being a classically trained professional dancer, and then migrating into choreography and dance team management and things like that. So that was like kind of that first chapter, and then I went from that into a marketing and brand development chapter where I did a whole lot of corporate jobs, and then I migrated from corporate jobs to family-owned businesses with corporate clients, and that kind of led me to a place where I got really disenfranchised with that whole work, you work a corporate job to get full benefits, to be able to take vacations and things like that, and it really became something that I was like, well, screw this. I've been working my butt off for most of my life, and the only thing I've ever wanted to do is travel. So I started traveling more and more, and my current full-time employer at the time was not too happy about the amount of time I was taking off of work to travel. But they were happy with the work that I was producing, because I was producing good work for them, and I was a great employee. And so I was on a trip with about 15 of my friends. A lot of them were former members.
All right, I gotta jump in here because I did find those videos that I wanted to play. So I was not prepared because I wanted to kind of like give you guys a little bit of the type of person Genevieve is. But she what's that? I mean, she's like filming videos in her like living room, working out on a cast iron skillet and stuff. I don't know. I gotta tell you. Oh no, why is this not working? Yeah. I gotta tell you, Magic Dancer, by the way, people. I mean, they could use her right now. Only got 21 wins last season and stuff. Now, she's really, really cool, and I think she can provide a lot of great content. Matter of fact, I need to get out there. Got a lot of energy. Sorry. I mean, is that Die Antwoord, by the way? I think that is Die Antwoord. A lot of people probably don't even know who Die Antwoord are. Oh, my God. Anyways, I'm going to get back into the interview. I apologize. I did that for the guys. Wanted them to be able to see who I was talking to.
Dancers and then photographers. There was this core group of friends that I had in Central Florida that we would travel quite a bit together. And we were in Costa Rica, and I noticed that all of my passwords to my email and everything got shut down. And I told all my friends, I was like, hey, I think I just got fired.
So did they actually do you a favor? Did they do you a favor by doing that? You know, like when somebody gets fired from a job, at the moment you're kind of like, oh man, what did I do wrong? You know, you're kind of like living in the moment, but then like getting let go from a place.
It was actually not the first time I was fired from a job, so I really have those thoughts.
No, trust me. I've been fired plenty of times. I've been fired so many times working in radio and stuff, but like every time I thought it was horrible, it led to bigger and better things. So like, is that what made you make the leap into this?
Yeah. So they fired me from my full-time position and then immediately hired me back as a contractor to work remotely from home on my own schedule and then charge them whatever I want. So I did that for about 2 months before I was like, why am I doing this on my couch? And why am I sitting at home? I could be doing this literally from anywhere in the world. So I went on a random trip with a stranger from the internet.
Wow.
To Hawaii.
Was it a guy or a girl? Because, you know, women got it.
It was a guy. It was an Instagram friend from, I mean, this was back in early 2015. So a little bit early on in the Instagram days, and he lived in California. I lived in Florida. We really connected, and then we said, hey, let's do a trip to Hawaii and meet for the first time.
Genevieve, I got to ask you this though, okay? Because like I said at the beginning in the interview, most of the people, because I've interviewed a lot of guys that do the van lifestyle. One of them, he actually designs conversions and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
What are like some of the differences? You know, like look, I'm all about equal rights, men, women stuff, but you got to realize that, you know, like women have got to deal with a little bit different things out on the road, new places, new areas, meeting new people and stuff. Have you ever like had any situations where like you were like, oh, I don't feel safe, or has it been pretty good?
It's been what I always say is the difference between men and women on the road as solo travelers is, as a woman, you just have to deal with more
creepy dudes.
Yeah, it's just like everything you do, from just going to a mechanic shop to going grocery shopping during fishing season. It's just peppered with a little bit of that, you know, sexual harassment and being objectified or being diminished because you are a woman and things like that. So it's just like one of those things you have to navigate. I've had some unpleasant experiences. Nothing. I trust my intuition a lot, and I think I tell.
You just got to be aware of your surroundings. You just got to be aware of your surroundings more, right?
Yeah, you got to put yourself in the right places, and you can't always, you know, put the right people in front of you, but there's a way to treat all humans like humans, and I've found that it's usually hurt people.
Yeah.
And usually the people that threaten my security and safety are people that are hurting deep inside. So I'm this hippie that's like, let's talk about why you feel like putting me in this scenario right now. Why are you doing this to me?
Would you
What's going on with you?
Would you consider yourself an empath though? Like you're empathetic?
Oh, big time. Yeah,
okay.
I'm a huge empath.
Well, because empaths kind of like try to look at the good in people, or try to put themselves in other people's shoes and stuff. I'm the same way, and I feel like I've gotten taken advantage of because I was trying to do something kind, but what was your first, have you been traveling in the same van since you started, or like, what was the first one you started with, and what are you going around in now?
So technically it's not even a van. When I started in Florida and I had this grandiose idea, I was going to buy something that I could live in and travel across country. I said I'd do it for a year or two. So I was looking for anything I could. Van life wasn't even a hashtag yet, much less the like wide array of YouTube videos on how to build out vans, what to look for, all of that stuff. And I was looking at old campers because I wanted something in the $5,000 to $10,000 range that was able to live in and also could take me across country and all of the places that I wanted to go to. So I was looking at some big old things, and I only had 2 friends that had any experience with traveling in vans for more than a month or 2. So I was using them as resources. And actually the guy I went to Hawaii with was one of them. And he was like, girl, you were going to run out of gas money before you even make it to California. Like, you are looking at things that are way too big. And he sent me a screenshot of a late 70s Toyota Chinook from Instagram and said, this is what you need. And that just blew my mind. I had never seen Toyota motorhomes, and I immediately fell down that
Got to be good gas mileage.
So.
Got to be good gas mileage with a Toyota.
Yeah.
Genevieve.
Yeah, that's great.
Genevieve, and like we all are guilty of this. You you judge people, by their cover, even though you try not to. And I knew you as that girly girl that had now back. You were doing the dance squad that was associated with my previous radio station. You guys used to come in and tan at my ex-wife's tanning salon there, and and the thing is that I was not in a million years would I ever thought oh, Genevieve would be out, hitting the open road and stuff. Like, is that an advantage for you or a disadvantage? Because, sometimes you want people to underestimate you. Sometimes, is it something that is an advantage or a disadvantage?
In regards to coming from being like a dancer and being a more girly girl, and then getting out there on the road and being self-sufficient.
Yes. No, well, I mean, on your Instagram, I saw I know they were joke pictures, but using the bathroom outside, having a squat or do something like that. I was like, never in a million years. But did it take time to adjust to that lifestyle, or did you take to it like a duck does water?
Oh, I definitely took to it right away. And I think because of my dance background, I had always been very comfortable physically with myself. And being around people. I've also been very comfortable with performing and being on stage. And so that all kind of lended to this whole solo female traveler kind of lifestyle, in the way that it felt like, through social media, it felt like a way I could still perform for an audience. And that's why I like using humor. I've always had a little bit of a dry, dark humor.
Definitely.
And a little perverted too. So it all just is like part of who I am. And believe it or not, while I was still back in Florida, I got really into weekend camping trips, either solo trips or with my girlfriend. So I had been peeing outside with my girlfriend for a few years by the time I went on the road. And it's just something that really is part of the thrill. I don't know. It's exhilarating to pee outside, in my opinion.
It is. It really, really is. Now, let me ask you, being, out on the road and stuff during the pandemic, how was that? Because, a lot of people were trapped inside. They were, secluding themselves and everything. And I'm sure you were in a lot of places where, like, you were the only person around for, like, a lot of miles and stuff. Like, did it change the way you lived at all? Or, like, did you, or was it just great timing to be out on the road and camping and doing that type of stuff during the pandemic?
Yeah, I got kind of lucky because I live in isolation pretty much already. But I was at the time parked on some remote property that was a property that my friend owned with a female friend that also lives full time in her van with her dog. So when it all happened, we had each other, and we normally went grocery shopping once a week anyways. So we just, hunkered down for 10 days, had each other to talk to every day. And we went through all of these things because it was just her and I. So we talked about life and how the world was changing, and what we even felt guilty about when we were talking with each other was how COVID hadn't changed our day-to-day life a whole lot. It wasn't until probably about 6 months to a year later, when people started coming back out again, that it did actually really affect people like us living on public lands. Yeah, because there's people everywhere. Everyone wanted to go camping. Everyone wanted to buy RVs and go on those trips to the mountains and the desert and all the places that are so beautiful that I had sought out for years became where everybody wanted to go. So it made it harder. Sometimes I had to drive around for 20 minutes, a half an hour. I work a seasonal job in the summers in the Eastern Sierra Nevada.
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask that because did you? I know that you're out and about, but did you have a chance to watch the movie Nomadland at all?
I haven't been able to watch it yet because I actually wait for things to come on streaming platforms, and I haven't paid attention enough.
It's available. It's definitely available because Frances McDermott, though, it was. One of the fascinating things I liked about the movie is when she got to a new town is like they would go to certain places. They would migrate just like they were like regular like animals out, migrating the plains and stuff because you went to.
Oh, I definitely formed my own migratory patterns. So my first year and a half, I really just traveled all over. I went through all of the good places, Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Washington, Oregon. Like I did all of the West. And I really, really loved Eastern Sierra Nevada. And it's high desert. It's wonderful. It's remote. Everything's beautiful. And it's at 7,000 feet and above. So during the winter, they get a good amount of snow. So I learned pretty quickly that I didn't want to stay there in winter. So I had this regular routine of doing 3 seasons of the year in the Eastern Sierra and then popping down to Joshua Tree, sometimes over to southern Arizona.
How is that place?
Winter.
I've heard a lot of great things about Joshua Tree. Like, is that like a great place?
It's so great. I think I got very lucky because I first found Joshua Tree in my life, in my travels back in late 2015. And it's really because of social media and because of the big push for everybody to spend more time outdoors and recreating outdoors. It's just really blown up. And with its proximity to LA, it's
becoming too touristy. It's becoming too touristy, probably.
It's kind of come the desert LA. I know LA was technically a desert before, but Joshua Tree is now very LA. The property values have more than tripled. It's quite insane there. But the national park itself is still pristine and beautiful. It's just a little bit more crowded, so it's harder to get camp spots and to spend time there. So you kind of have to plan ahead if you do want a trip there. But I highly suggest that at least everybody goes there once in their life because it is this just beautiful place with so much history. I mean, the geology and the plant life and the animal life, it's a magical place, and then the humans that are there are even more interesting. And I fell into rock climbing in Joshua Tree.
Oh,
which was also another fortunate situation.
I gotta ask this. So, have you had any encounters with wildlife that were threatening to you? Because you see a lot of people, that are just out hiking and stuff. Did you see the video of that guy that it was just a mother mountain lion protecting its cubs? And the guy was not messing around with him, but she just was not letting it go. Like, she just was out for blood. Like, have you encountered like poisonous snakes, bears, big cats, anything like that?
Yeah, I haven't had any major encounters. Most of the encounters I've had have been with wildlife interacting with humans when humans are living very close to wildlife habitat. So, like in Joshua Tree, for example, they do have a pretty vast coyote population, which is wonderful. It's just that they've learned that tourists in the campground leave garbage out overnight, and things like that are food stuff, and they come and take it. They've also learned to draw pets like a dog.
Yeah, you have a dog. But I mean, your dog though looks like it could handle itself though against a coyote. I mean,
I don't even know if he's an old guy that I adopted. I rescued him, and I don't know what situation he was in before, but it wasn't great, and he doesn't have most of his teeth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's a pretty stocky guy, and I think he could handle himself with one coyote.
Yeah, maybe a
and
couple.
And also, of course, because I adopted him, and then only 3 weeks later, we basically moved to Joshua Tree National Park for like 3 months during that winter, which is not allowed.
Yeah.
You can't get away with it anymore. So I taught him, out there, we follow the guidelines of haze, don't praise when it comes to wildlife interactions. So anytime a coyote came through our campsite, I would run after it, yipping and howling and, just kind of.
So he knows that that's not good.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately that taught Sailor to run after wildlife. So he's almost always on a leash to prevent that from happening and having any problems with the wildlife getting hurt or him getting hurt. I think that's honestly, I just think it's part of responsible dog ownership is making sure that your animal doesn't interact with wildlife if you're going to have it in more wild spaces.
Genevieve, I got to ask this though. You were talking about not being able to camp in certain places. Like earlier I talked about judging a book by its cover and stuff. And I'm sure law enforcement have this idea of, these hippie squatters going out and stuff. Like, have you ever had to deal or had any bad encounters with law enforcement when you're out camping somewhere, or that they've hassled you? I'm not saying anti-law enforcement and stuff. I'm just saying sometimes. Yeah. I mean, have you ever had to deal with any tickets out traveling?
Honestly, I've gotten one ticket for illegal camping. It was totally my fault. It was in the town of Moab, which camping is very illegal, and I knew it. I had just had a dental procedure where I had my whole mouth numbed and got out at 4 p.m. So I was I'm just going to camp at this trailhead. So I woke up to the next morning to getting a ticket, and it was something like $40. It was so chill. I was like, oh, I'll pay this. For the amount of illegal camping I've done over the years, this is okay. But once COVID really hit and then people started getting back out again.
Yeah, it's kind of like swimming in a school. It's like swimming in a school. They can't, it's like safety in numbers.
Yeah. And I'm in these remote areas where they're pretty understaffed as far as rangers and law enforcement go. So they have to bring people in from outside the area to patrol. So over the last year, that's one of the reasons why I've decided to kind of hunker down in Texas, because I have some tiny housing here as an option outside of my camper.
Yeah, I was seeing you were doing some work and stuff on it as well too. A lot of people. I was really impressed when you were talking about that cast iron skillet you got. A lot of people don't realize that. I'm just gonna wash it with soap and water and a Brillo pad and stuff.
No.
And that's the last thing you want to do. There's a certain way you got to treat a cast iron skillet and stuff. And I like that you were able to take an older one and bring it back to life. And the story you told on your Instagram page. If people want to check out your Instagram, once again, how can they check that out? You know, and I'm gonna post it when I do this show so people can find it.
Perfect. Yeah, it's Joie de Vivre on Instagram. So it's JOIE_DE_VIEVE.
Do you carry anything for protection being out on the road? And you know, like a knife, pepper spray, stun guns, anything like that?
Yeah, I actually, despite being a girly girl who grew up dancing, I've always loved knives.
Yeah.
Just because I think they're kind of cool. And so I do carry several knives on me. Mostly they're like knives I use to like open packages and cut things and things like that. But I could shake somebody with them.
Yeah, I know.
I do.
You could easily do
Go
that.
ahead.
You could easily do that. And you know, once again, back to judging a book by its cover, I think somebody would underestimate you, like, she's not gonna do anything. And then like out of nowhere, bam, you know, you take care of your business and stuff. Hopefully it never comes to that and stuff. Now, I know this.
No, and I think the biggest security that I've been able to provide myself is staying in places where I feel safe. I'm someone who doesn't get the whole stealth camping van lifestyle. I feel like I moved into this camper, which, by the way, it's a 1985, and one of the reasons I love it is because it's got these massive windows. So it's not stealth.
Yeah.
I can roll down the blinds if I do like stay at a friend, you know, in a friend's driveway or something like that, and there's people walking around. But I don't park on city streets and camp in big cities or anything like that. I stay out in remote places. And I get to know the area really well most of the time. So, I mean, I sleep with my doors and windows open and all of that other stuff because where I'm at, I know I'm safe. I know there's always that off chance that somebody could come there. But, you know, I'm living in towns with a population of 200 and something, 400 and something people where I have a network of people within a mile or two, even if I'm camping in a remote place, that not only have my location on their phones at all time, but if I don't show up to work the next day,
I share my location.
If something's creeping me out. Yeah.
I got that friend. I got that friend.
Great support system.
I always have that. I always have that friend that I would like, if I'm in a bad situation, I'm like, hey, if I don't call you in like 30 minutes, because I share my location, you know, you can do that with the iPhones and stuff. And
yeah, my boss and my boss at the brine shrimp plant that I do, the seasonal work that I do, she is also a good friend of mine, and she's married even though we're the same age, but she knows what it's like to be single, because all of us know what it's like to be single at one point in time in our lives.
No kidding.
It's funny because I use dating apps and social media, Instagram specifically, as a way just to meet people sometimes.
Yeah,
because
of
you'll
course.
meet interesting people just passing through, whereas you wouldn't have run into them otherwise. So there was often times where I would send a stranger, often a guy from the internet, just coordinates to where I'm parked in the middle of the desert and say, come meet me here.
Genevieve,
so
right?
I would,
Oh man, come on.
this was after a lot of like pre-qualifying questions.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say.
Sometimes, things like that. But I always would send my friend, who is my boss, their first and last name, their phone number, their address, if I had their address. If I was going to their house, I'd send her address. I'd send their Instagram, their Facebook, whatever it is that could identify that person as the last known person that I was around.
Yeah. Hey, Genevieve, I gotta ask this. So, do you think maybe we can have you on again? I don't know what your cell signal and stuff is, but I would love for people to kind of do because I wanted to have you on and talk today, but it would be cool to get a tour of your van and stuff and kind of see what's going on there. Maybe get some check-ins from out on the road and stuff. I really think that would be amazing.
Yeah, I love that. Like I said, I'm kind of taking on this new chapter of moving into this old 42-foot 1955 trailer. So I'm not moving around quite as much, but I'm planning on going on a nice long summer road trip since this will be the first summer that I'm not tied down to a job.
Well, let's do that. And what I'll do is like if you start checking in and stuff, maybe we can get some of the supporters of the show, to donate some money that we can PayPal you or something, for checking in and everything. I think that would be great. One final question, like, what is the one thing that you miss from your previous life? I know you're still living the same life, but I'm talking pre-van life to, post-van life. Like, what is the one thing you're like, kind of miss that? Or do you not miss anything?
It's weird. There's not a whole lot that I actually miss, but I am a nostalgic person. And it's so weird to me that I spent 35 years of my life building relationships, migrating through these different careers and meeting all different types of people. And it was weird to me that I left that and I started from scratch. So the times that I start to miss things about my old life is when I kind of feel like I'm this island, which is something I also enjoy now.
Does it get lonely though?
Or do you like I'm...
Does it get lonely, or do you like loneliness? Like, do you like having time to yourself, or does it get lonely?
It's weird. I think I'm very stubborn and independent. I'm stubbornly independent. So I think I told myself a long time ago that I won't allow myself to be lonely. I almost see it as like a weakness. And I really use my time alone to get to know myself better and to like myself more. And it's gotten to a point that I've leaned into it so hard that I love my alone time. I love my time with my dog and myself, and I like cooking and dancing around and listening to music. So I'm never really lonely in the way that I don't have time when I'm by myself to think about how lonely I am. I think the only times I really have that sense of loneliness is when, when COVID hits and everybody's sheltering at home, and I had my friend as my support system, but we both didn't have a homes other than our vehicles. And so I feel like it gets hard sometimes when I'm on the other side of the country from that whole 35 years of
Magic
family and friends.
Magic only won 21 games this year, so I mean, it's not good times there. So I mean, but okay. I know this is just a random question. What is the oddest, weirdest place you've had to use the bathroom out in the wilderness, or public urination and stuff? I think is still against the law, even if it's out in the woods. Have you had any close calls where law enforcement have rolled up on you where, you're using the bathroom or taking a squat out there?
Yeah, no, I've actually never gotten caught, and I'm pretty liberal about where I pee, and I don't say if it's.
Well, you grew up in Florida. You grew up in Florida, so of course you don't have a problem peeing anywhere.
We kind of pee everywhere. But yeah, I definitely say the only time I have a penis envy is because guys can pee pretty inconspicuously outdoors.
We don't even have to stop driving. We don't have to stop driving. A Gatorade bottle, we can pee while we're even driving down the road.
I'm full on giving myself long-term bladder damage from having to hold my pee while driving on single lane mountain roads where there's not even a ledge to pull off the pee, or I'm just doing Lamaze breathing to try and find a pull out so I can just run and drop my pants and pee in the bushes.
You got to look for cactuses or snakes and stuff when you're doing that. I mean, the last thing you want to do is sit on a cactus or get bit in the ass by a snake.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely accidentally gotten poked in the butt before. Luckily, not by a snake.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate in the way that I have not run into a lot of snakes, and I haven't run into any venomous snakes other than seeing a rattlesnake, a baby one, tucked behind some rocks, well within a distance that it was safe for me to stay behind, and I just adjusted my walking path. So I'm pretty lucky. I haven't seen any venomous snakes
Well, Genevieve,
non-venomous snake.
No, but I really, I'm serious about, once you get back out on the road and maybe, start, like I said, I know like some of the places you probably don't have great cell phone signal, or maybe you can find Wi-Fi. Like if you get any content or whatever that you want to share.
Yeah, I do have a Wi-Fi hotspot. So anywhere that I have service with that, I'm pretty good. And because I made this a lifestyle, I actually pretty much stick to places where I know I have cell phone reception, unless I'm going off somewhere for an overnight camping trip and then coming back. I tend not to run off without service for weeks at a time anymore. I have to make a little money.
you don't want to be like that guy. Like, I mean, that's the thing. After I saw that movie that James Franco did, where he was out there climbing and he got his arm stuck under that rock and he had to cut his arm off and stuff, I was like, oh man. I don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere by myself, because it is like, survival of the fittest, because you're on equal ground when it comes to the wildlife, and you can't rely. I keep seeing people say stuck. Is that across all platforms, or is that just Twitch? Jesus Christ. Oh, I am. Oh man. Oh, hold on. Rely on other people to help you out. Hello.
So it's J-O-I.
Hello. Jesus Christ. I always that guy, like, I mean, that's the thing. After I saw that movie that James Franco did, where he was out there climbing and he got his arm stuck under that rock and he had to cut his arm off and stuff, I was like, oh man. I don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere by myself, because it is like, survival of the fittest, because you're on equal ground when it comes to the wildlife, and you can't rely on other people to help you out. No. You got to do what you got to do to make it by.
Yeah, and I carry an emergency beacon. I'm not often going places in my rig where I feel like I would need it, but you never know. And then I also take it when I go hiking. I actually don't hike as much as I used to. I'm old.
Oh, whatever. I
like to drive to things and be like, that's pretty.
Oh, you're still in great shape. I've seen, your posts. I mean, you get out there. I mean, the moves with you dancing with your cast iron skillet, like I said. Genevieve, hopefully you enjoyed this. And I'm serious. I would like to... my shows, I've been doing the audio podcast for the past 2 years. And now since I got a studio, the live stream on my YouTube, I got to ask, am I that cringeworthy? Like, seriously, am I really that cringeworthy? I don't know, man. She probably will never be on my show again. Who knows? Seems like people are saying that, having some issues with the stream. But I got to tell you, Genevieve, I talked to her a little bit today, and, she gets a lot of her girlfriends, and she goes out with other ladies and stuff on some of the camping. Yeah, it's definitely lagging. I got too much stuff open. I got it. That's got to be it. Let me see. I might be pressing my luck here. But I was talking about her dancing around with a skillet and stuff. This was on her Instagram stories and stuff. And I really, look, I would be an idiot. I would be an idiot not to try to, like, help her out, because she could help me out. I got a male demographic. She's going out there doing a lot of stuff that most women wouldn't do. Be out in the open. She's talking about pissing and using the bathroom and other areas and stuff. That's the type of content, not her using the bathroom and stuff. I'm just saying, just being out on her own and stuff. But I mentioned her dancing around with the skillet and stuff. And there is a lot of skill when it comes to working on a skillet, because a lot of people, you got to wash a skillet. No, never wash a skillet. Never wash a skillet. You can't do that. You just can't do it. That's a nice looking skillet. I think it is. Come on. That's a nice ass skillet. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Skillet. She's got a big old skillet. And then, you know, Genevieve is a professionally trained dancer and stuff. And like I said, danced for the Orlando Magic. I probably could have used her this year. Come on, listen. Any woman that is dancing to Die Antwoord. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Guys, I want to thank everybody that listened to tonight's show. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to take both of the interviews that I did tonight. I'm going to put those up so you guys can check them out. The audio podcast will be available on all podcasting platforms: iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, 315live.com, TuneIn Radio, and basically every place that has a podcast. I want to thank everybody that checked out the show tonight. I want to thank my guest, Lisa Olson, and my guest, Genevieve. Make sure you follow her on Instagram. She got all fancy with it, with the French saying and stuff. I want to make sure that I get it right. Hold on. It's JOIE_DE_VIEVE. Once again, that is JOIE_DE_VIEVE. Gonna get out of here, guys. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Hopefully you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you tomorrow.